Well, when I really dedicated myself to art, I think was after my first year at NTID. Through the cultural experiences that I was having when I arrived here, I became very introspective. It was such a life-changing event to go from the environment in which I'd been raised to NTID. It was as if I'd entered a whole other world. So this caused me to really take a hard look at myself, and I expressed that introspection through art. Hello, my name is Susan Dupor. SD is my sign name. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. My family has mostly hearing members. My parents are hearing, and they had 4 children, of which I'm the third. I grew up deaf in a mainstream environment, and I went to a school with mostly hearing children who didn't use sign language. Also, the area in which I grew up didn't have many deaf children, so my experience was more one of isolation. I had limited communication with kids my age and limited opportunities to associate with my hearing peers. So the energy that would have been expended in socializing was channeled into my artwork. I drew a lot when I was growing up, hours and hours. And I feel that that afforded me the opportunity to build on my creativity and improve my art skills. Now, if I'd been hearing and I hadn't had those same experiences, perhaps I never would have grown up and become an artist. My K through 12 program had a great deaf and hard of hearing component. We had interpreters, and we had note-taking services. And in the elementary grades, actually I was in a classroom with 2 teachers. One was deaf and one was hearing. They team taught together. So I could look up and see one of the teachers signing and one of them speaking. It was wonderful role modeling. I graduated from Madison, K through 12. After I graduated, I went to NTID. I was there for 2 years studying art. And then after 2 years, I transferred over to the Art Institute of Chicago. I got my BFA from there, but after I graduated, I wanted to continue with more studies. So I came back to NTID again, and I joined the JESP program. This is a program NTID has in conjunction with U of R, and it's a joint education specialist program. From that, you get a dual master's degree in deaf education and art education. There's one artist who's had a profound impact on me. She's a very famous Mexican artist named Frida Kahlo. Her work is fantastic. It's autobiographical. She paints about her life and her experiences, and it's fascinating all the different things she went through in her life. She paints about her family, about her miscarriages. She paints about her husband, her loves, all the people around her. She uses so many beautifully rich colors in her work. She does a lot of self-portraiture too. I'm fascinated by her, and her work is very inspiring to me as an artist. I never take a blank canvas, put it in front of me, and immediately start painting on it. I just can't operate that way. I feel like I can't circumvent my own process. I have to prepare everything step by step because I don't ever want to feel dissatisfied with my end product. I'm very picky as to which ideas I pick to bring to full fruition. I have to allow them to percolate a while, and then one will rise to the surface, which means I need to quickly get my sketchbook and get it down in a line drawing. I do it very quickly, and then I put the book away. Later on, gosh, it can be 3 months all the way up to a year, I'll go back and open the book up again. Then I make modifications to improve upon the original drawing. That's in black and white. Next, what I do is make a watercolor sketch of the same idea. When I'm finished, I have to determine if I want to use a model or not. If I decide I want one, then I ask my friends usually if they'd mind modeling for me. Then I take a lot of pictures of them to use as a reference. It really wouldn't be practical to ask them to come and sit to model for hours and hours and hours, just due to time constraints. So I rely on photos. Sometimes I'll see a beautiful lighting situation out my window, a sunset or a certain quality of darkness that I like, and I'll take pictures of that too. I rely on photographs of landscapes, the models, and lighting situations, which I layer together in a composite. After I've found the exact right picture that I want, I draw it on a big piece of paper. The last step in the process is to draw it on the canvas. And that's when I really start using the oil painting. Really, from conception all the way to finished product, it can average from 3 months up to 2 years. The themes that I use in my work primarily have to do with deafness. If you look around at the artworks on the wall here, you'll notice that I have a lot about the deaf experience, and I show that by using hand shapes, sign language, facial expressions, and a lot of movement. All of these are aspects of deafness that I incorporate into my artwork. I think when I began producing what you'd call deaf art, it'd be more of the resistance variety. People look at my earlier work and say, it's dark, it's disturbing. But what I produce now isn't necessarily disturbing. I think when you look at my paintings now, it's more of an inspirational experience compared to what I produced then. My previous work was what you might call resistance art, but now what I produce is more affirmative art. But I think that if you spend a lot of time looking at what I'm painting now, you'll still find these vestiges of resistance art within it, especially in my use of symbols. When I was in college, it was here at RIT actually, one of the teachers gave us an assignment that we had to pick a quote and illustrate it. And I did think of one quote that at that time was very important to me, especially at the age I was, which was around 19 or 20 years old. It said something along the lines of, "We are born crying." You know, how babies are born and they're always bawling. We grow up complaining. And the last part of it is, we die disappointed. That quote really hit me because it was like a cautionary tale. It was so pessimistic, and I realized I didn't want that in my life. Do I want to be disappointed in my life? No. I want to have a great life, and I want to find a path to that great life. At the end of the day, when my life is over, I don't want to be dissatisfied with it. So that quote really hit me because I realized I was faced with choices, and I could either choose to have a good life or a bad life. I think that everyone, whether they're an artist or not, has some story to tell. Everyone has to have a creative outlet of some kind or other, something to express their background, their experiences, their culture, or their language. Some way to get that out. It could be writing, or videography, acting, performing of some kind. Visual art is such a powerful tool.